Crewman here, and welcome to my second PC flip. This is a little bit different of a flip as I'm using a mix of parts I got from my first parts hunt, some parts that I got on my second parts hunt, which you'll see at a later date, or maybe before this is filmed, depending on when this build gets sold, and parts I already had. So let me go over it. First thing is we're going to use an Intel 10100 on a Strix B560 motherboard and 16 gigs of DDR4 3000 RAM. I paid $100 for all of this. $20 for this cooler. Now it had a stock cooler on it, but I thought the RGB would just make it look better. So $20 on this stock cooler from Open Box Micro Center. $25 on this 512 Gen 3 M.2. Now I bought a box of 10 of these for 250 bucks, so 25 bucks each. This is not on a parts hunt budget, but I just put it in there because I needed these for other things anyway, so I'll figure out how to put those in later. A 1 terabyte hard drive because I had it, why not throw it in? Power supply that I actually already had from a lot I bought a long time ago, so it's free. An Asus 1660 Tough that I've had for a long time. I was going to sell it, but I figured I'd throw it in a build instead. Honestly, I could probably get, after everything's said and done, like 70 bucks for it. So that's what we'll value it at. And then this Okinos case, which has 4 RGB fans. I got this for $60. So we're about $275 in on this build. So a little more expensive than the last one. But overall, I think still a very good deal. And we're going to go ahead and build this. I think I'm going to list this for about $425-ish. 425 is probably what I'm going to look to get. We'll see if I can get that much. I'm really excited to see how this games. And without further ado, let's get building. All right, here you can see Marvel Rivals. This is the first of 2 games we're going to test. The hard drive didn't hold that many games, so I only wanted to try 1 or 2 just to show you what it could do. First, we're going to try Marvel Rivals, which is my favorite esports title now. Think of Overwatch with basically Marvel skin, and it's pretty well developed, and like I really like the fact that the environment is actually way more destructible than I had originally thought. You can see 1080p low. We're getting about 60 to 80-ish FPS. And you can see the 1% lows are not the best, but it's not terrible considering the combination of parts we're using. Now let's try a AAA game, Warhammer 40,000, 1080p low, upscaling off. The beginning scene is the best scene basically to benchmark. Basically just a ton of gaunts running down the hill at the end of the first level. It gives you an idea of how well this PC is holding up. Now we're hitting close to 60 FPS or hovering around that mark, which is very impressive. And the 1% lows aren't too bad. And as you can see, we're basically pushing this GPU, CPU combo to its limit. But I would call this more than playable, which is pretty impressive considering the combination we're using. So this PC ended up sitting in my storefront for about a month. Honestly, it sat for way longer than I was hoping. And I had this originally listed at $475. I thought the RGB might be able to justify the price, and I was clearly wrong. I had this thing up for a month, and I ended up dropping it down to $400 before it finally sold. So overall, I made a profit of measly $65 after everything was said and done, when you consider that I could have sold the GPU alone for about $70. Was it worth it? That's relative. You know, I learned a lot about the build. I liked the content, and I did enjoy making the PC. The profit was bad, but that's okay. I learned that RGB alone won't sell a PC. And I also learned that if you're going to use a combination that will only sell for so much, then maybe you don't need to prioritize looks and just focus on performance. Especially as I've sold some more lower cost budget builds that just focused on performance and kind of gave up on looks. And that's not to say I'm going to totally give up on looks, but I have one more 1660 Super, and I actually have another 10-100F combo that I actually feel like I could sell for $400, but I could up the profit if I change a little bit on the build, as in I end up going with a little bit less storage, I go with less RGB, and I try to spend a little bit less on the case. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll let you know in a future video. So this was my worst flip so far. This is PC flip number 4, and definitely my worst one. But that's okay, because I did learn a lot from it. And like I said, I enjoyed this build, and it gamed a lot better than I thought I did, actually. This combination is great on 1080p low, and the good thing about a PC build like this is it offers a nice upgrade path, because you can eventually go up to something like an 11900K, without swapping out the motherboard, and you can upgrade the GPU to as high as you'd like. Not every flip is ultra profitable. That's not the point of these videos. The point is just to show you great new combinations. Budget PC gaming is alive and well, and for $400, this was a great deal for the person that bought it. I hope they really enjoy it. All right, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Got a pretty sweet PC build coming for you next week, so make sure you check it out. Peace out.